Hello everyone. This video pertains to the explanation on what you are to put in your financial plan on your activity social enterprise plan. So, first you are to identify what are the materials you are to use on your social enterprise plan. Now I will be giving you an example. So this is a example of a social enterprise of one of my students. So they are planning to create a product in their social enterprise plan, a tire to make it out a chair out of a tire, kanang ligid ba. So say for example, they need a tire, they need a paint, they also need a wire. Now with that, most probably they needed a 10 pieces of tire, and then each of the tire costs 50 pesos. So that will be 500 pesos. And then paint, let us assume, but please, in this example, I am assuming the prices, but in your social enterprise plan, try to look for the exact prices of the materials you are to use for your activity for your social enterprise plan. Now the amount for paint is, let us say, 400, and then for the wire is 165. So a total of 900, 1 million, with a total of 1,065 pesos, right? So that is your expenses. Now, once you are done computing with the materials needed in order for you to produce the products on your social enterprise plan, so you are to proceed with the table on revenue stream. So this is the computation of how much revenue you generated out of the products you produce. So this is the table. Okay. So first, number of products produced, and then the price of the product, the quantity sold per day, then how much will be the amount per day, per month, and a year. So say for example, accordingly to my students in their social enterprise plan, creating a chair out of a tire is that they will make use of 10 tires, and they will also create 10 chairs out of 10 tires. So 10 chairs. Now with the 10 chairs, they will then sell it with 450 each. Okay. Now with that, how much is the quantity sold per day? Accordingly, they will assume that the 10 shares they produce in a day will be sold all throughout the day as well. So that will be 4,500. Okay. So with the 4,500, quantity sold per day, I'm sorry. So quantity sold per day is 10. And then how much will be the amount per day sold? So it's 4,500. And then with the 4,500, okay, before we proceed with the months, okay, with the 4,500, about 4,500, how many days will you operate within a week? Because the 4,500 is a per day. So let us assume that you will operate for 5 days. So for the 5 days, you have 21,000. So this is your revenue for a week. Now, how many weeks are there in a month? So there are 4 weeks. So you multiply it with 4. So, alright, so the 21,000, you multiply it with 4 because there is 4 weeks in a month. So you will have 84,000 a month. So you will write the 84,000. And then you are now to identify how many revenue you've generated within a year. So with the 84,000 a month, you will then multiply it with 12 because there are 12 months in a year. Then you will get 1 million 1 million. So you will then write that amount to the year. So this is your revenue stream. So with this revenue stream, you will then proceed on creating your income statement, your projected income statement. So how will you create your projected income statement? So first, you will write, say for example, chair system. Chair system is the name of the company. Then you will write projected income statement. So, first, you will write the revenue. How much is your revenue? So, makikita mo doon sa iyong table sa inyong revenue stream. Less operating expenses. So, what are these operating expenses? First, your materials. Okay, so your materials is how much will you be able to expense in terms of your materials. So when we go back to your materials, diba, the same ang iyang process, no? So I'll just let here solve how we will get the materials. So a total of 1,065 mantong sa materials ganina. You go back to the first part of the video. Then, a day man yun, no? 10 tire a day. So, you multiply it with 5 because of 5 days. Then, you will multiply it by 4 because of the 4 weeks in a month. And then, you multiply it with 12 because of the 12 months in a year. Then, the amount from here is you will put it in this part. Okay. So in computation, you will get the expense in terms of materials of 255,600. So here, you will have 255, I'm sorry. So you will write 255,600. So erase na natin to. Computation lang man to. This is not included with your income statement. Now, proceed on the other expenses. Say for example, you will rent a space so that your social enterprise will have a space during operation. So let us say in 1 year, ba in a month, let us assume, or you try to check how much are the rental fees a month into certain areas where you wanted your social enterprise to be built, or to be to have a physical store, I mean. So let us assume, so mag-assume lang ko no because I really don't know how much is the rental fees. Let us assume that it's 3,500. With that 3,500 a month, you will then multiply it with 12 months because your social enterprise, this projected income statement is for a year. Okay, so that is why we always multiply it with the 12 months. 3,500 times 12, you will then get a 42,000 for your rent expense. So it's 42,000. And then, say for example, because you have an office, then you will pay for utility expense. So the same utility expense. What are your utility expense? These are your water and electricity. So with the water, the minimum rate for water now, if I am not mistaken, is here in our area it's 200. So you multiply it with 12 months again, and then in a small office, most probably if there are computers, there are equipments, so most probably it's 1.5 per month. So you research on that, so as much as you assume, but try to research on how much really is the cost of the kanang electricity for a month if you have those type of equipment on creating your products as well as your services. So all right, so 200 times 12, it's 2,400. And then for the electricity, it's 18,000. So with this, total nila ang imong ibutang. So how much is the total for this one? It's 8, 9, 10. So it's 20,400. So erase natin itong computation. Then you will have 20,400. And then you will then identify what are the expenses that your company will make use of so that your social enterprise plan will start on its operation, or kanang mga needed nga mga expenses so that your enterprise plan will start. And then so identify lang mo kung sa pagkikinahanglan sa inyong business nga ma-fall siya sa operating expenses. So say for example in the communication expense. Ano sabi communication expense, or let us make use of the common term Wi-Fi connection. If ever you will install a Wi-Fi in your office, so most probably the 1 month of a Wi-Fi is 1.6. Multiply mo na naman ng 12. Okay, a month, or I mean in a year, you will have an expense in terms of Wi-Fi connection in an amount of 19,200. So 19,200. Right. So with that expense, total mo kung magkano lahat. So as you can see in the placement, there is your revenue, here are your expenses. So if you review your accounting, this is what we call as single step. Okay, single step because revenue deducted to the operating expenses. Then you total all of this one. For the operating expenses is 337,200, right? So deduct mo yung revenue mo to the operating expenses. So your net income will be 670,800. So right here, net income. Again, ibalik ko, this is the format of your projected income statement. Now, with regards to your operating expense, you yourself should identify what are the expenses that your company will incur to operate within a year. So, magamit ng mga expenses. So it depends on you. Should be that your company have an insurance expense, supplies expense. I mean, these supplies expense, these are the materials. So it depends really on what is your business all about. Then you will imagine, or you will identify what are the expenses that your company will incur within a year. And with this one, so first, let us review. You are to compute for the materials to use for your product, to produce your product and services, and then compute for the revenue stream. And then you are now to create your income statement with the identification of what are the expenses needed for your company to operate within a year. So that is all for this video. I hope this will be of use to you on creating your social enterprise plan. That is a requirement on the final term of your subject, business ethics and corporate social responsibility. Thank you, everyone.